Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel.
I look ugly.
Now I'm gonna cook some steak and chicken stew.
I don't want to be in it.
It's recording.
I'm scared.
We did a marination on my steak. Make some chicken stew. We got some chicken. We got some potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, some onions, and some green onions.
And garlic.
And garlic. Garlic mix we use. We got an Irish butter.
Oh, I want to Or you just do recording it in my face. So do I talk in this video? Can you get my big spoon?
Big spoon.
Okay, so how do you cook gypsy chicken stew? So the first thing we're gonna do is turn on our heat to about a low medium, and we're gonna start melting this butter. Right? There we go. I like to add a lot of butter. Some people say half a spoon. I'm gonna add this whole brick of butter. No, you know what? No, I'm not. This is my first time using this. Hold on, I'm gonna use half of this.
We got our steak sizzling.
I'm gonna save the other half first. I feel I need more later. Now also, if you're into carrots, a lot of people put carrots in these foods. A lot of people put sweet potatoes and carrots, or sweet potatoes or carrots. They don't, a lot of people have different preferences. A lot of people don't put green onion in this either, unless it's chicken and rice. But we like green onion in this house, so we're gonna make it like that. I'm skipping on the carrots because I like sweet potatoes, and I feel like if I got sweet potatoes, I don't really need the carrots. And we're also making a really small pot because it's just us two.
Now we're gonna do the split. Look at that. Okay, that looks good. We got some filet mignon and some marinated bourbon marinade.
Once your melted butter is looking a little something like this, you can turn the heat up a little more, but not by much. We don't want it a lot, because this is where the cooking is going to happen. We're just going to leave it like this. We're going to add all our onion, all our garlic, and the chicken. You know, we're going to wiggle it around a little bit. It kind of falls apart on its own, so you don't have to worry too much about this. It's just, you know, you could even just throw it in as a big chunk, and you'll notice as you're cooking it, it'll just kind of, you know, move around and separate. So this part is not that serious. And if you don't really like onion and you think, you know, oh, I don't want this because it has onion in it, you do not taste the onion whatsoever, and by the time the food is done, you don't even see the onion. This is your flavor. This is how we're going to flavor the chicken. You're going to want to separate that one a little bit. Now, a lot of people add a lot more onion to this. I'm talking a whole onion, half an onion. This was like a quarter of an onion. Because again, it's a small pot, and we're not really big onion fans, so I only added a quarter of onion. Now I have like 6 cloves of garlic. We're talking a lot of garlic because your garlic disappears in this food and then you don't even taste it unless you add a decent amount. So I'm going to take about 6 cloves of minced garlic. You could use the garlic that's in the jar if you want, but this is a little bit better. But if you don't feel like doing it, you could just do this. And we're going to add it and separate it. We're seasoning pretty much the butter. That's how I like to look at it. And then when you put your chicken in, your chicken soaks all of this up. So your chicken's going to soak the butter up, it's going to soak the garlic up, it's going to soak the onion up. I'm taking this video dead serious. You know that, right? I don't know why. Like, I'm not playing around. Okay, once you got that going, remember, medium to low heat, because you could burn. This is the part where everybody messes up.
Look at the chocolate mousse.
I've cooked this food enough times now to know mistakes. So I learned this, and you could learn this too from my mom-in-law. I'll tell you the truth. So I learned that if I do smaller pieces of onion, it burns as soon as you put it in the butter. But when you do bigger chunks of onion, it doesn't burn, and it's more like it sautés. So the bigger the pieces of onion, the better. You don't want to mince it to little square cubes or anything like that. You want chunks of onion. Because once it's burnt, you're going to have that burnt flavor in this food. Now, we're going to add our chicken. So I made my chickens little sizes about this big. Don't try to do more than that because it'll take a lot longer to cook and it'll kind of be dry. So you want them about 1.5 inches wide and long. So like a square. And I cut all the bad parts off, so you want to do that as well. And you want to just throw your chicken in. Some people do chicken on the bone with this food. That's good too. If you don't have bouillon and you want to do it really old-fashioned, you want the bone to kind of give off flavor, that's actually really good. And by the time the food's done, it's not like the chicken's still on the bone, it falls off of it. So that comes out really good too, and it kind of has more of an old-fashioned cowboy taste to it. But we like that one too. But I don't really cook that one. I'm not too, professional at that one. So see here, I added just the perfect amount of chicken to my pot to where it's not overflowing, but it's also going to soak in enough of the butter and the onion. So this many pieces was the perfect amount. Like, I killed it. Okay. Now, another important thing. This is what I know. This is why how much butter you add is important, because you see, this is a mistake. See how it's not covering the chicken? It'll burn, and you'll brown too much, so I need to add more butter. I kind of knew it wasn't enough in the beginning, but I still wanted to see, so we're going to add another half a stick. I cut it in half, and now I cut that half in half. So we'll use about 75% of that butter. And now it'll cover it to where it actually marinates and sautés instead of frying it.
Marinade looks good. Here's our filet mignons.
See, so like in our household, what me and Andrew likes to do is when we're cooking and we know the pot of food is going to take a while, we like to make a side dish on the side so that we can eat while we're waiting for the food. Now, I know that's not old-fashioned of us. I know our mummies used to scream at us not to eat anything while she's cooking. They wanted us to starve. so that we eat a lot of food. We don't do that here. Me and Angel don't get along when we're starving, so we eat. Okay, now you see where I lowered the heat and I added more butter. Now it's not sizzling now. Now the chicken's not frying. The chicken's actually cooking in the butter. So that's what we want. We don't want it to fry. That's a mistake because you'll brown all the chicken and at the end it won't look like chicken stew. It'll still be fine, it'll still be edible. It just won't look the way you want it. So we want it to actually boil in the butter. We don't want it to fry. Remember that, people. It's a big mistake that could be made very easily in this food. Boiling, sauteing, not frying. And that's why, okay, this is another kind of thing that people talk about, is whether you could use butter or margarine. With chicken stew, you don't want to use margarine because this chicken, if I use margarine, Blue Bonnet, what's the other one called? Blue Crown, the one in the brown box. If you would have used any of those butters, this chicken would have been fried. And it wouldn't have, it would be alright, but not what you want. So I recommend getting a higher butter, a real butter, and that way it boils and doesn't fry. And this is getting all the marination that we want. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So I am actually going to close the lid on this. I'm lucky enough to have a pot that has a hole in it, so if the steam comes out of it, it's actually a really cheap pot and it adds like a really high-end feature that this pot has. So I recommend this pot from the dollar store. Okay.
This is how we like our steak. And you only can do this with a high-grade steak.
We're gonna eat a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna put it back on the pan.
Tell them you like it, but I don't like it, Sophie.
Yeah, she likes it, but
He likes the steak, and I think it's okay, but it's a little too pink for my liking. So what is this? I don't know why I think jalapenos are smaller. But this step doesn't come up yet. But once we add the water to our food, we're gonna want this to cook with the food the entire time. This gives it like a kick that you don't need to add pepper to it. Like I'm still gonna add some crushed pepper and some black pepper, but this really gives it like that perfect amount of kick. Like you're not even chopping it up or anything, you're just throwing the whole thing in there. Trust me, this makes a big difference. Some people think it's just for looks or just because we're home and we just do that, but it actually, I cooked it without it and I cooked it with it multiple times and this makes a big difference. That's kind of like Korean barbecue. Put you in there. Okay, you see how this pot, the little steam comes out of this hole? High-end pots and pans do not have that, and this actually does. High-end pans don't have a little hole like that for it to come out, and this pot does, and it's only $3 at the dollar store. See, we're boiling that chicken, and this hole allows it to boil. And like I said, if I cooked this in a high-end pot, it wouldn't have done it. It wouldn't have boiled like that. So it's actually very shocking to me. I'm going to remove the lid, and I'm going to stir around the chicken. It's nice and steaming. You want that chicken to boil. Okay, so once it's starting to boil and your chicken's coming to look like this, so we've actually been cooking the chicken now for about 10 minutes. Now we're going to add our green onion. So this is going to shrink a lot, so that's what we want. But by the time we put this in now, by the time it's done, it's going to shrink. So don't be afraid of green onion. I'm going to add about that much a lot. I'm very keen on proportions. So I feel like that was the perfect amount for this small pot. I'm gonna, stir it around, make sure it's nice and in the butter, because we also want it to marinate. Because remember, your chicken is soaking up everything that you're putting in here right now. We only want nice butter, garlic, and some onion. That's everything right there. And we want it, real ingredients. We don't want to use onion powder and onion salt and garlic powder. No, we want to use real ingredients, because this is what's gonna make your stew. I'm gonna cover it up and let it boil again.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, so I took off my lid, and this is what I want to show everybody, so they know it's time. So all the green onion dissolved, all the regular onion dissolved, everything's translucent, that's another sign, and the chicken. So now the chicken is not pale white anymore, or pink when you started. It's this perfectly golden color. It began to get golden. It's not completely brown, it's not white either. It's got like a nice golden sear on it, so that you can tell. So this is when it's perfect time. You cook it any longer like this, you're going to overcook it, and it will be dry. And it won't shred apart, and it won't be juicy. This is the time to add your water. So now I make this mistake all the time, so I'm going to make sure I don't make this mistake. I'm not going to add too much water. I'm going to add a little water, because I add so much water that it doesn't become a stew. So I need to add a perfect amount of water so that my potatoes go in and everything goes in, then it becomes a stew. So now the starch from your potatoes will thicken it. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so I'm going to add some water now. I'm going to stop myself, because I usually go way over dramatic than that. And I think this is actually the perfect amount. So, let me check it out. Yeah, I think this is literally, you see how it's a nice yellow color? That is what we're looking for. So I think that's the perfect amount of water. I'm not going to add any more than that, because I think that it's actually perfect, and it will thicken up perfectly nice on its own. If I feel like it needs more water, I'll add more water later. Better to start out low than overdo it. And now here's a good time to up the heat a little bit and to find your chicken bouillon. We're only going to add one. We got a lot of chicken going on, a lot of butter, a lot of natural flavors, but you don't need artificial flavor. But I feel like it's just like our tradition to put chicken bouillon in it. Like I can't imagine like not. But unless you're doing the chicken with the bone, that's when you could skip on it. Because the bone, you know, makes bouillon itself. We're only gonna add, let me show you how small the cube is. It's not a full cube, it's like a half of a cube. It's this tiny. That's all we're gonna add. Dropping it in. Okay. Now this is the time to add your seasoning. This is the perfect time because now all the food is going to cook together. So, we're going to add never too much of these. Not the type of food we're going for. It's not meant to be spicy. Whoever overdoes this, I've had other people's chicken stews where this is all I tasted and it was not a chicken stew. This is not to make it spicy. This is just for a little bit of zest. Let me show you how much we are putting. Don't overdo this. We're gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5. That's it. As you could see, it is very light. Again, you don't need to do that. We are adding the jalapeno. That is the flavor of spice we want, not crushed pepper. Saying this because I've had some bad chicken stew in my life. Salt. Again, we're not going to add this whole thing of salt. Remember, we have the chicken bouillon in there, and that's 75% salt. So, we're not going to add too much. This is just, again, I don't know, we just need to put a little salt. Like, it doesn't taste right unless it has some. Unless, you know, you have older people in your family, if you have people that can't have salt, skip on this salt. The salt in the bouillon will be just enough for an elderly person. Adding salt, you can always add it to your own plate at the end. Always be conscious of others that are eating your food. Just be an animal like add some salt. That's it. That's it. We're not heavy-handed here. We're not going to add more than that. Black pepper. Again, it's just something that like everybody puts in their food, so I'm going to add it. I don't overdo it because, again, jalapeno is the zest that we're looking for. Alright, that's literally it. We're going to give it a nice stir, and it's starting to look the way we want it to. Now we're going to add our other ingredients. We are going to add all of our sweet potatoes. Make sure, you know, you peel and rinse and, you know, have them prepared. Again, this is a small pot, it just means add below. If you're cooking for a lot of people, I'd recommend at least 3 sweet potatoes. This is only a small baby one, and 3 regular potatoes. If you're cooking for a big family, I recommend maybe doing 7 to 8 potatoes, and then only 3. Potatoes take forever. I didn't cook my chicken completely all the way because it's going to stay boiling in this for a while. Because the potatoes are going to take a long time. Okay, now look, we have pretty much everything going on. Give it a nice stir. You know, I'm very proud of myself this time for not overflowing it with water. Bad mistake, done it every time. Have to really thicken it up afterwards. Thickening it up, I do recommend cream of chicken. I'm going to skip on it because my husband does not like it. If you really want to thicken up your chicken stew, you could use a whole can, but a whole can is too much. I'm just going to tell you everybody straight out. A whole can is overdoing its part. It doesn't come out right. It comes out kind of just like a soup after that, and it loses. I don't know why, it just loses it. Oh, we're going to add our jalapeno. Whole jalapeno, rinse your jalapeno, and throw it in there. You're going to do a little action like this. There you go. Cover your food. I almost dropped the whole pot of
Snack again.
animal starvation.
One more snack before the food's done.
Okay, I got my rice rice boiling. Give me some. Sometimes I do the measurements when I'm feeling it. You know, 2 cups rice, 1 cup water, 2 cup water, 1 cup bullshit, whatever. So I added about a quarter. I don't put a square. I added about a quarter of the pot of water, and now I'm going to just kind of eye it out and see how much rice I need. I got a lot better at this. I used to use measurements. Alright, to me that's plenty. It might actually have been too much. Actually, no. Yeah, that might have been too much. Whatever. Okay. Put a little square of butter. Not everybody does this. Makes the biggest difference. Your butter comes out really soft, really flavorful, and you need to add salt. Salt and butter to your rice, biggest difference. I've done this many of times before without it, and man, it makes a difference. Your rice actually becomes flavorful. Like before, to ask me to eat just regular rice, I wouldn't have done it. Now I could eat it with butter and salt. Okay, yeah, I definitely probably added too much rice, but it's okay. As we're going, I will add some more water. The lid for it, but I'm going to use it. We're going to cover it. That's fine. Again, clean as you go. Okay, so I forgot to show the finished product because I just fixed the bowl for Angelo. But we got our white rice ready over there. It doesn't look the prettiest, but it's good. And our finished product, we got our chicken stew, our sweet potatoes, our regular potatoes, our giant pepper, and some green onion in it. And we're gonna wrap some coconut shrimp and some fish around it, and we'll show you that.